Hey, so today I wanted to do a video on this really gloomy day about a topic that I'm really into, which is finding your voice, finding yourself, listening to yourself amidst the constant confusion and chaos of everything that's going on around you. This has and continues to be like a lifelong struggle for me, so I feel like I have a lot of strategies that I use that might help you too, to get through moments where you have trouble deciding something for yourself or discerning your own voice from what other people around you want for you, are saying, advise for you, and all of that. So there's a big difference between asking for advice and guidance from people who care about you and living your life according to their wants and needs. Whether it is actively having people tell you what they want you to do or imagining what you think they want you to do, it doesn't make a difference. As long as you have the idea in your mind and the pressure, the perceived pressure from the people in your life, that alone can dictate your life unbeknownst to those people. And that can come from growing up with those kinds of pressures, growing up with certain statements being made to you about how important it is to care about what other people think, how important it is to adapt to others, how important it is to make others happy, how important it is to basically sculpt your life so that everyone around you is okay with you. Of course, the problem can be that when we do sculpt our life according to what we think other people want, whether they're actually telling us that or we're imagining that or amplifying it, we can find ourselves in a moment where we don't know ourselves, we're unhappy, our life suddenly feels foreign or subpar, it's not living up to our standards and wants and needs. We start feeling maybe a bit empty. And it's one thing to be growing up as a young child or adult and obviously needing the guidance and structure from other people, but there comes a time where we blossom into the fullness of who we are and we start to create our own lives and make our own choices and build ourselves in a way that we want to. I still and will continue to ask the people I care about for guidance and advice about situations that trouble me or that I'm having a hard time making a decision about. But the difference now versus when I was like in my early 20s is that I will still find the time and place and space to hear from myself and figure out what I want. And growing up, I felt so much angst and confusion over making decisions. I asked everyone I knew for their thoughts. Of course, not everyone has the same opinion about what you should do, so it can cause so much more confusion about a decision. Everybody comes to you with their own subjective experience and their own perspective, their own beliefs and values, and they might be different from yours. And if you try to weigh a decision based on how you can make everybody happy or find this like baseline where everyone's okay with you, you will become incapacitated. It is impossible to make a decision where everybody is going to be happy. And when you're someone who doesn't like conflict and wants everybody to be happy and is a bit of a peacemaker, then that's something that you might fall victim to as well. The problem we can run into is that we do make bad decisions and we do get into situations that aren't great, that we have to learn from, that we have to reflect on and assess. But what can happen if we over-rely on other people to tell us what to do is we lose trust in ourselves. And we might find ourselves in more of those predicaments because we just don't know how to find our way anymore. We've lost a connection to our own internal voice and guidance system. Not having trust in myself or in yourself is literally my biggest, deepest challenge. Growing up with a difficulty making decisions and wanting to make everybody happy, I stopped trusting myself for a really long time. So when it came to make decisions in the future, I would go to myself last, if at all. So really, at the end of the day, it's about building trust with yourself, trusting your own voice, your own instinct, your own guidance system. Look to people that you care about to help color that and literally take things with a grain of salt, because that is the most important thing, to take it with a grain of salt. So one of the big things that comes into play with anytime you need to make a decision or find yourself in a situation is time and urgency. When we're faced with a situation that causes us some kind of anguish or other people anguish, there's a tendency, at least, I've had experience with this and maybe you're the same, to resolve things right away. And I talked a bit about this in my Finding Your Power video, especially when it comes to conflict with people. It's a similar topic to this. And one of the biggest things is when you're overcome with some emotion or upset about something, to take time and space away to process it, if you can. When you step away to process an emotion, you allow yourself the time and space to reach clarity, which is so important for situations like that. And it's the same thing with decisions. We want to make decisions quickly. We don't like being in a space of indecision and not knowing. So we try to make decisions really quickly, but we can take the time to figure out what we want when it comes to a decision. Stew on it. Decisions obviously also require clarity and sorting through and processing emotions as well. But the most important thing to all of this is taking the time and space to hear yourself. So once you have worked through the emotions, taken a step back to retreat, you can get out of that sort of cloud of urgency and worry and angst and fear, or whatever it is, and start to hear a voice come up that is from deep within that will tell you what you truly want. And you might find it really difficult to hear or recognize that voice if you're not used to doing that, but it's a practice that you can engage in to make that voice stronger and stronger. And that involves doing regular things to tap into yourself. Like meditating is one of the most important things, to really sit away from everyone and everything with the time and physical space around you, mental space around you, emotional space, to go somewhere deeper where you can just hear who you are and what you're here for and what you want to be doing. And without judgment, because your deepest, most internal thoughts are for you. And you can listen to those thoughts and give them the space to speak and give them the respect that they deserve. You don't have to act on all of them, but they're coming from you. And aside from meditating, there's journaling, and journaling is such a crucial, helpful exercise to discern your voice from others, just to let that brain vomit out on paper. And as you start to do that, as you start to write it down, and the act of literally writing it down versus typing it in somewhere is so healing. And you can start to kind of work through that word vomit and then start to come to a place where your own true words and feelings are coming through. And there's no one on the other end of that journal to say anything back to you, to give you an opinion, to give you advice that might be unwelcome at that time, to confuse you. And then another way to re-engage with your voice and build trust with yourself is to engage in acts of self-love and engage in the practice of self-love. And self-love is an act that also benefits the people around you. The more that you love yourself, the more you start to overflow with that and are able to benefit other people with that love. So it is not a selfish act to recognize what you want to do and do those things, to listen to your voice and champion that voice above everything else, to connect with who you truly are and how you want to carry yourself in this world and who you want in your life and what you want to be doing, to love and appreciate yourself, whether it's your exterior, your interior, whatever skills you were given, whatever talents you have, whatever magic you carry with you. The more that you learn to love yourself, the more that you begin to trust yourself and hear yourself and make better decisions for yourself and process things that are less pleasant, because you can also love yourself through the difficult times and through the mistakes and through the worst decisions. And when you start to listen to and build up that voice that you have inside of you, you start to hear your own wisdom. And we always look to other people for wisdom and guidance, but we have an innate wisdom in ourselves, wherever you believe that comes from, whether it's your mind or your soul or your higher self or guides that are with you. You have access to this inner wisdom that can guide you around the things that you need to get through in life. I can go through a journaling session and be like, this is really bothering me. I feel like I should be doing this. I feel so bad about that. I'm so blah, 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 blah. And it's a whole page of that. And then it's like this voice starts to pierce through that's like, but I don't need to listen to that. And this is what I actually want to do. And this is how I actually feel. And this is who I am. Damn. I just gave myself some good advice. And when you trust your own voice and engage in acts of self-love and listen to yourself that way, you start to do things in life that bring about your full being, like your full optimal being, what you're meant to be, what you're meant to do, how you're meant to express yourself. The more you listen to that voice, the louder it gets, and the more you act on the things that it asks you to do, the more you start to fuel this progress of attaining a new career, or getting closer to the love of your life, or getting closer to the dream of who you feel you are but can't fully be yet. Being ourselves to the fullest is like the epitome of self-love. Being in the fullness of your being, in the way that you act and carry yourself and express yourself and the things that you do, is such a euphoric way to be. That can cause conflicts, that can cause certain people to fall away from your life, that can cause a lot of scary shifts in, you know, what you're doing, where you live, who you're with, who your friends are. But it's natural, you know, when you're sort of changing that frequency of who you are and what you're emitting, it's going to cause a bit of like a shuffle in your life. But that resulting arrangement or configuration that you're going to be in is going to feel so much better than living a life that feels strange or unfamiliar or unsatisfactory to you, because you have built it up according to other people's voices and needs and not your own. The biggest thing really is that you are here to live your own life. Nobody else is going to live your life for you. That's something that really helps to think about as often as you can. You're the one that's walking through your shoes every day. You're the one that's stepping into your house. You're the one that's waking up beside this person you're with. You are the one that chooses to be with these friends and people that you have in your life. You are the one experiencing your life. So while it's nice to have guidance when you need and ask for it, or a little bit of a push in the right direction, take it with a grain of salt and listen to yourself at the end of the day. Try not to be swayed by what other people think and say. That's what I tell myself all the time, because I'm so easily swayed. But if you can hear and listen to what people say, because that has validity too, and still find your voice at the end of that day and decide what you want, that's the most important thing. So I hope that that helps some of you as much as it helps me. It's still something that I'm working on every day and is a good reminder for me. If you have any thoughts on the topic, I would love to hear. You can also follow me on Instagram. I post there every other day usually. And I have a lot of thoughts and writings on there. And I will be doing videos more regularly right now. So if there's any topic in particular that you're interested in, feel free to let me know. I won't be too swayed by it though. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you soon.